Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing?
Man,
It's
we're
been a
doing good. Let's
long
get it.
while. We are here, back right on time. We got ourselves asleep. We have one more slumber until we start the NFL 2022 season. We got two new guests here tonight to start off season 3 of the Swaggy Sports Podcast. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter. Two great friends of mine for a very long time. One collegiate athlete, former quarterback at Lafayette, soon to be possibly guard for the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays, but we'll see about that come wintertime. Mr. Shane Davis, how are we doing tonight?
How y'all doing? Always great to be on this podcast, man. It's really a pleasure. Thank you, Steve.
Glad to have you on. You already know. Glad to have you on. Need some good insight tonight. And to the bottom of us, we have Broadneck versus Arundel High School legend, hot pass catcher, number 82, Mr. Ben Hudson. How are we doing tonight, sir?
You're doing good. I just want to say I love coming out here. I love learning from my boy Steve. He knows what's going on.
I appreciate you, brother. I wouldn't want to have any other man on. So, as you know, like I said, we have one more slumber in us until we have the much anticipated 2022 NFL season. Super excited. And tonight we just kind of wanted to, before it all gets underway, kind of just give a little outlook on every team, division by division, dissect each division, which teams we think are the for sures, which teams we think are the sleepers. We're going to give ourselves possibly a way too early MVP talk, a little way too early Rookie of the Year talk, see where our minds are thinking before these games start. And then if we're kind of keeping it fast, we'll end off with game by game predictions to see which teams we think will be on top. So I wanted to start off hot. I feel like this division is the one that's made the most noise this offseason, bringing over many superstars from every skill position you can think of, and that would be the AFC West, the mighty AFC West. Now, starting off with them, we got to give credit where credit is due. The Kansas City Chiefs, they were the top dog for them last year. They had a crazy, possibly one of the greatest playoff games of all time last year between the Bills. Insane unbelievable game. And they lost to the AFC Championship to the Bengals, hot team. Now, when you look at the Chiefs, obviously it all starts with Pat Mahomes, but they lose Tyreek Hill, which is, some say, was the greatest duo aside from probably Stafford and Cup, but the greatest duo we've seen within the past 3 or 4 years, the best 1-2 punch. So Mahomes has a lot to prove in that situation, being that he's losing his top dog, still have Kelsey, who's a wide receiver one himself. And then they bring over Juju Smith, and they also bring over MVS, which is I feel like is a sleeper for them as well. Then you go over to Broncos. They bring over Danger Russ, which is top dollar. You know what I'm saying? It all starts at quarterback. So if you bring over someone like him, it immediately elevates your squad. They already had, I feel like, a pretty good roster. Aside from the quarterback position, they could have improved there, which they did. So you can't sleep on them. You have the Los Angeles Chargers, who they had the money talk this offseason. Straight money talk. You bring over guys like J.C. Jackson, top corner. You bring over Khalil Mack, top dude in the trenches. Absolutely insane. Jay Herbo going into his 3rd year with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Palmer on the rise. Great squad right there. Cannot sleep on them for sure. And then you have the Raiders, who college roommate called him over and said, man, I need my dog. Devontae Adams, top receiver in the league, brings him over. So now they got to bring it back to what it was in college. Absolutely insane division. Absolutely insane. Loaded. Ben, let me ask you though, if you were to
Yeah.
pick one team to go on top out of that division to start the playoffs, who would you think it would be?
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go Kansas City Chiefs. You know, I think even though they lost Tyreek Hill, I think it's gonna be more. Kelsey's gonna have a more prevalent role, and him and Patty Mahomes, they're gonna be able to get it done. They're gonna be able to get it done. And
Like
that's
that.
that.
Like that. Shane, who would you say to come out of the AFC West if you were to pick a team right now?
I mean, I think the easy answer is Kansas City.
Okay.
No, but for real, I think Andy Reid has a lot to prove this year. People are counting them out without Tyreek. You know, Pat Mahomes also has a lot to prove because people are saying he's not shit without, without Tyreek. And obviously, I think that's not true. As Ben said, they're gonna add Kelsey more into the rotation, get him as many touches as they can. This is one of my hotter takes of the night, I think. I'm going to not take the Kansas City Chiefs to win this division. I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders. I think
Okay.
Devontae Adams
Okay.
Adams is a game changer. I really think that the Raiders can make a push this year. Derek Carr is a good quarterback, and he has a real weapon. Number one receiver, in my opinion, in the league right now. And I think, with Josh Jacobs coming back, they got Darren Waller, Max Crosby on the other side of the ball. They're a
Yeah.
good team. They're a very good team. I just think this division is going to be top three teams. Hey, all four teams could have double-digit wins. The Broncos could make a run for sure. Kansas City obviously is going to do what they do. And then you got Justin Herbert always making stuff shake in Los Angeles. So, I mean, this is a great division. Stacks up well with the NFC West. But yeah, I'm gonna take a hot take here, one of my hotter takes of the night, and go with the Las Vegas Raiders to win this division.
No, I respect that, Shane. I respect that. I like that. Now, let me ask you this. Being that you're a former quarterback yourself, I might have to pick your brain a little bit. If you were to
Talk
rank
to me.
the four quarterbacks in the AFC West, if you were to rank those four best to last, what would your list be?
Mahomes won for sure. He's different. He's just got something that everybody else doesn't have. You can be 3rd and 30 and you're scared because he's going to
Yeah.
zip one in there. No questions asked. So you got to go Mahomes one. He's a difference maker. But then the 2 spot gets a little interesting. I think I'm going to personally go with Russ. Because I
Nah,
love
I
the way
like that.
I love the way he moves. And
Yeah.
he's obviously a veteran in the league, been to a couple Super Bowls. He knows what he's doing. He's been around the league. With that being said, Justin Herbert's special. He could really be. He could go to a couple Super Bowls himself. So I'm really looking forward to what Herbert can do in this league. I think it's a great fit for him in Los Angeles. And then Derek Carr in his own right, I'm putting him 4, but he's not trash. He's
Yeah.
one of the better quarterbacks in the league, top half of the league for sure. I just don't know if he stacks up talent-wise with the other 3 dudes in this league, in this division, excuse me.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I was curious to, truthfully, just curious to see where you're gonna put Danger Russ, because I feel like some people might contemplate putting him at 2, despite the type of year he had last year. He broke his finger, so he was out for a little bit, and then they couldn't get in the stride they
Yeah,
needed
you
to get
can't forget.
into.
You can't forget what he's
But
done.
yeah, he's diff. He's diff. All right, I like that. I like that talk. Let's move into a different division. Let's see what we got here. I like the AFC East. The AFC East. Now, one thing I will say about this division, you have the Buffalo Bills, who have seemed to be the Super Bowl favorite going into this season. I feel like Vegas is talking that way, at least. Most analysts on social networks are talking that way for the most part. Rightfully so, though. Respectfully, I love the Bills. I truthfully think they're at least AFC Championship bound this year for sure. I like them. Josh Allen, top 5. He's a playmaker from the dual threat aspect. He's different. He has his wide receiver 1 in Diggs, tough. running back game. They bring over Dalvin Cook's little brother, James Cook. Got him on one of my fantasies. Like, definitely don't sleep on the Bills this year. That's a given. That's a for sure. But then you have the Miami Dolphins.
I
And
think
the Dolphins bring it over. No, talk to me.
Excuse me to interrupt, but I think we got to talk two here. I think the Bills are one, but I think we got to talk two spot, because I don't know. Patriots Dolphins is where I don't know what you're thinking about that, but I can't decide which one of those two is going to make the playoffs,
Yeah.
because I think this is a two playoff
Okay.
team division.
Okay. Okay.
But I think the Bills locked up that one spot, in my opinion. Ben, talk to me.
I personally think Miami Dolphins got the 2. I think Tua has a lot to prove. I think he's got a lot on his mind. I think he's got a hard head, and I think he's going to do it. Him and Tyreek Hill, they're going to make something special this year. We'll see. I'm excited to see it.
I mean, when you add Tyreek Hill to any offense, I mean, bro, that's a deep threat. Anytime in the game, you could pop one.
And Tua can really huck that thing, and
he can.
He can.
And don't forget about Jalen Waddle, bro.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say the Dolphins, their roster has the need for speed. If you look at their roster, they have the need for speed. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, you have Raheem Mostert, like
Dissection.
The need for speed. Dissection, the thing about Dissection, though, which is very interesting, is that they were looking for trade targets for him because of the type of offense that they're going to run. They need more so blocking tight ends, and he's not one of those. Yeah. It's very intriguing, but I also like that take you say that you only think there's going to be 2 teams coming out of the AFC East for the playoffs, because I could see 3. A lot of things will have to shake a certain way, but
I'm gonna go
the Pats. I mean, I feel like when you look at the Pats, they have Bill Belichick over there. They haven't named their OC yet, who's going to be calling the plays or whatever. But it doesn't really matter for them. For most teams, it does. For them, it doesn't. And you have a dude like Mac Jones, who he was a Pro Bowler last year. Say what you want, and they have probably a running back by committee going into this year. So I can't sleep on them. If Coach Belichick is able to keep their defense tight, Mac Jones, I mean, they've won games and he's barely.
They'll win games. They'll win games for sure. Very well coached, and Mac Jones is a great quarterback, in my opinion. Rookie year, he came out and did what he needed to do. Looked like he was at Alabama again.
Right.
So I like the Patriots a lot, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins at 2. I'm gonna go Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and I think the Patriots don't make the playoffs this year. That's my take for this division.
I respect that. No, I respect that. I mean, in all honesty, I like what the New York Jets are formulating as far as rosters go. I think they had a very, very good draft. You bring over an elite corner, an elite receiver, potentially elite pass rusher. It sucks that they lost Becton before the season even started again.
I like Garrett Wilson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, he's a dog. Elijah Moore is also a dog as well. They bring Breece Hall, who we were talking about before, off camera.
He runs north to south. He can really he might be able.
He's a good back. He's a good back.
Good back, no doubt. He's gonna get a couple TDs for them, no doubt.
Nah,
I mean, but I'm sorry, they got Flack Daddy starting the year, first 4 games.
Yeah,
I love him to death, but bro, he's not winning them any games. I'm sorry.
He's really good at handing off, like I said.
I like Zach Wilson, bro, but I think they're
Zach too.
7-8 win team with Zach Wilson. I don't know with Flag Daddy.
How long is he out? Do we know?
4 weeks.
I'm not sure. At least 4. Yeah.
At least 4. Yeah.
Ideal. And they have a very hard first 4 games, from what I remember. They have a very hard first 4 games. I wish the best for him though, for sure, man. I mean, I like Saleh as a coach. Like he seems like a very nice, a very smart coach and a player's coach. I think they like him, and I like what they're formulating over there for sure.
No, yeah, that's gonna be a good division. We'll see what happens. I'll be tuned in.
So you got Miami rocking at 2 out the East.
What's
like
your
that.
record? What's your record for Miami, Ben? You think they're going to be 9-8 type, or are they 12-5, 11-6?
I
How
don't know.
good
We'll
you
see.
talking?
That's a hard question. I personally think 12-5 type because I think Tua has just. I think he's special, and I think he's got a lot to prove. And I think people are counting him out, and now he's ready.
I agree. I think Tua's a little underrated.
Yes, I do too.
Extremely underrated.
People don't forget what he did.
I mean, I feel me personally, I didn't really understand the negativity that was going towards his way because he didn't have no weapons to really throw to for the longest time. Like
Bro,
truthfully.
And as we said earlier, bro, you add Tariq Hill, you throw him a slant, he could house it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And
he's accurate.
Bro, he might be the best dude to add to a young quarterback.
Yeah. No, I agree. He might, yeah. And he can huck that thing too. He's accurate and he can huck that thing far.
I'm telling you, man, he's gonna have a good year. I like the Dolphins. I like that, Ben. I don't think they're 12-5.
Okay.
Me neither.
I'm thinking 10, 11 wins.
Well, you just gave me that. You said 12-5, so then I disagree. So
nah, but yeah,
they're gonna win. They're gonna.
But
win.
bottom line with this division
more than they're gonna
is Bills are taking it for sure.
Yeah.
13-4, something like that. They'll be nice. And then second, I got
Records out. I love it.
Second, I got the Dolphins, man. I don't know about the Pats in the playoffs this year, man. The AFC is good.
In this division, I'm mostly excited for the Dolphins.
Me too.
Same.
Me too.
I 100% agree with that.
And this could be something where we look back and we look stupid just picking the Bills right off the jump because hey, they steal 2 against the Bills.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about a nice division run.
If they did, I wouldn't be surprised. I like Mike McDaniels too as a coach. Like I think he's going to get them right. They got the need for speed, man. Speed kills. Speed kills at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They got an elite cornerback. They got a young, promising edge rusher, Jay Phillips, dog. Like I think they're going to figure it out for sure. I see them in the playoffs for sure.
I do too, for sure. Just depends where.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's get down to it. AFC North.
Okay.
AFC North.
Let's talk.
Now, before we get to talking, that money gonna talk. We do have a Ravens flocker in the chat, Mr. Shane Davis. He's a strong and true Ravens fan, but hopefully we can keep this. We can keep this unbiased. We can keep this as unbiased as possible as we give our honest opinions on the AFC North. Now, I'm going to start off with the team that made it to the Super Bowl last year, the Cincinnati Bengals. I would say one of the spiciest, not necessarily the hottest or the best, but the spiciest quarterback wide receiver duo we might have in the league right now in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Love what they're formulating. And my thing is with the Bengals, their biggest problem last year was their offensive line. And they spent all their money on their offensive line. So I feel like they could potentially be in the same position they were in last year. I do truthfully have high hopes for them. As long as Joe stays healthy, as long as everyone stays healthy that we talk about tonight. But if he stays healthy and because he can find ways to get Jamar to pill in any situation. It doesn't.
I mean, that's Joe Shiesty.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When he's as good as he is, and the chemistry that they have, and how good Jamar is, it's spicy. It's just spicy. It's hard to beat, bro. Then we go down to the Ravens. Now they're getting their healthy roster back. They lost a lot of players before this season even started last year. So they'll be very highly optimistic when it comes to them. Then you have Mr. Mark Andrews, all Pro Bowl, all pro tight end. You have Lamar Jackson. Obviously, that goes without introduction. Dog.
Have they signed Lamar Jackson? Have they?
Not yet.
Nope.
Not yet. But you probably saw this, Shane. I think they said on ESPN that they're just going to halt the talks once the season starts. So that works into the Ravens' benefit at least.
Yeah. I think they got something figured out with him on a personal level.
Okay.
That's my assumption because he seems like he's all right. He's
Yeah.
not really complaining too much, being too vocal about it. So I think they figured something out.
Gotta love the Ravens roster. They always formulate a great roster. Defensively, you bring over Marcus Williams, safety talk. You draft potential great hybrid of a safety in Kyle Hamilton. Get your corners back. You get some edge rushers, bring them in. Patrick Queen at linebacker, merging, getting himself together. Year 3 or year 4?
Year 3.
Ravens, you can't sleep on them. As long as Lamar is healthy, that offense is top tier. As we go down, we now have the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a new dawn. A new chapter is opening in Pittsburgh with Big Ben retiring. They have the skills, I would say for sure. Chase Claypool, you have Deontay Johnson, you have Freiermuth.
Naj.
They
Najee
get
Harris,
Najee,
Big Naj.
top dog. Defense is there. You have the returning DPOY and TJ Watt. You have a top 3 safety and Minka Fitzpatrick. Edmonds on the other safety is not a sleeper at all either.
George Pickens, he's good.
Pickens, NFL young boy on the emerge. He's about to get himself together.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
That's what they call him.
Dog.
NFL young boy.
But we got to be able to get him the rock. You got to be able to get him the rock.
Yeah.
And with Trubisky starting, it's going to be very interesting. But one thing I will say about the Steelers, and they really proved that last year to me, or at least he really proved that last year to me, was that you can never doubt Mike Tomlin. I don't really doubt him. So I feel like
their
in
roster,
the benefit of that doubt. Exactly.
Bro, what was it? 2 years ago, they had Duck Hodges starting at Q. And I think they went 500, bro. It's ridiculous, man. You just tip your cap to Mike Tomlin because in this division, year after year, he's playoff push, bro. Every year.
Yeah. Every year. And then last we have the Cleveland Browns, who they definitely have themselves a situation that we're not necessarily going to get too deep on this podcast, but as far as the quarterback situation is what it is. When D Watson gets back, they're not a team I would want to see in the first round of the playoffs at all. You have the two-headed snake of Chubular, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. Dogs. They're absolutely they're menaces on the field.
And off.
They bring over a top-tier receiver in Amari Cooper that Jacoby Brissett will be able to potentially hold it down with. Their O-line is solid. Defensively, you re-sign a top 10, top 15 corner in Denzel Ward. He's nice. He can go at your top wide receiver 1. And then you have Myles Garrett, top 3 edge rusher in the league. Absolute specimen, not human. Dog.
He's not in the talks enough, in my opinion. I mean, that's for another podcast.
For what?
They don't talk about him the way they should, bro. All you hear is TJ Watt, Aaron Donald.
Oh, so you're saying he's underrated?
I am.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying in the sense of like I don't know about him being in the talks of being.
Oh, no.
In that pedigree.
No, he's different.
Yeah.
He's different. He's a game changer.
Yeah.
You slide your O-line to him.
Right. No cap.
You shift left.
All right. Now let me ask you. I'm gonna start off with Ben because we probably already know Shane's answer when it comes to this division. So Ben, if you were to pick a top team to come out of the AFC North, who would it be?
I'm probably gonna go Baltimore Ravens. I'm probably gonna go Baltimore Ravens. As much as I hate to say it, I think they had a good draft. I think Lamar Jackson, when they re-signed him, I think obviously he's great. He's unbelievable. And their defense, I think the defense it's wild. They just signed Kyle Hamilton. They got crazy secondary. I think they're special. So that's where I'm gonna go.
I hear you. That's not a bad pick at all. Can't be mad at that. Shane, talk to me. How you gonna bring it? How you gonna bring the AFC North home? Who's on top? Who's
First, I
crowned?
want to ask Ben where he's putting Cincinnati in comparison to the
Two.
Ravens.
I was gonna wait to. Yeah, I mean
How
that's what I was
close?
gonna
How
leave.
close? What do you
That
think?
was hard for me. That was hard.
What
for me.
type of year you think Cincinnati's having?
I mean, they're having a good
Are
year.
they, are they a play? They're a playoff team, no?
Yeah, they're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. Joe's got a lot to prove. He's still new. Lamar Chase,
Yeah.
just like we were saying. I mean,
Talk to me about the Steelers, bro. What do you see the Steelers at?
yeah.
Or actually Steelers or Browns? What are they winning? Are they beating the Bengals or the Ravens at all this year?
I'm saying I'm ranking Cleveland below Steelers. I think Steelers, if this QB's got to prove some things to me, but they got a good depth chart. I think Najee Harris. I mean, he's amazing.
I agree with that.
I mean, he's
I
banned.
agree with that. They could hand the ball off and win 7 games.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't like Chase Claypool. I like him. I think he's good.
Baller.
I think he's a good football player. So if QB figures it out, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they stick with Trubisky all year, if they give Pickett a chance.
It's an exciting season.
I feel like if Pickett ends up on the field, that's probably a problem. Like that shows a sign
they're
that
probably
Trubisky's
shaking.
Not ready. Yeah, but that could just be my opinion. So are you saying, Shane, you think the Bengals win the division, or do you still have Baltimore? You think Baltimore wins it?
This is tough. I think it's going to be a toss-up. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 games. I mean, they're both playoff teams for sure. But I'm going to go with my heart and say the Ravens. I think Lamar is just a freak. Anytime he's on the field, you have a better chance of winning the game because he's the best player on the field in any game.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we have some issues on our D line, and our linebackers are not the strongest, in the league. But our secondary is different. Our run game's different. Our tight end's different. So I just don't see us losing many games, especially with our schedule in our division. I think we sweep Pittsburgh and Cleveland, in my opinion.
When do you see Cleveland? Do you see Cleveland both times before D Watson's back, or at least one time after?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm assuming one time after. He's what, 11 games?
Yeah, 11 or 12. I'm not super positive.
But yeah, no, I love the Ravens roster this year. J.K. Dobbins is someone that people don't talk about. His rookie year was unbelievable. You pair him with Lamar, that run game's different. And I see the Ravens winning this division. Bengals right on their heels for sure. Burrow and Jamar are crazy. But yeah, I like the Ravens to go to the AFC Championship. And that's not even being a fan. That's just straight up facts in my opinion. I think the Bills and the Ravens are 2 of the best teams in the AFC. I think that'll be the AFC Championship. As it goes for the Steelers and the Browns, in my opinion, I see the Steelers being better than the Browns this year just based on their organization, coaches, running back, and defense. They can win games straight off that. And then if Trubisky gives you a couple good games, you might steal some. But the Browns, I think, will be pretty shit until Deshaun gets back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm seeing, obviously, like most people, Ravens Bengals top 2.
Okay. I'm just taking notes of what y'all are saying here. You said Ravens Bills AFC Championship. Okay.
I don't know if that'll be the AFC Championship, but those are the 2 best teams in the AFC, in my opinion. Not biased.
That's well said.
Really? I mean, it could just be me, but if I were to pick a winner in the division right now, it's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair.
Me personally,
they went to the Super Bowl.
Obviously, yeah, the Ravens, when Lamar's healthy, that's a totally different team, totally different offense and style and way they play the ball. No disrespect to Huntley at all whatsoever. But
can I butt in?
Yeah, sure. Y'all been going for the past 5 minutes for sure.
The Ravens almost were a game, not even a play or two away from making the playoffs last year with Tyler Huntley at the helm. No offense to Tyler Huntley, but
He's good. He would start on another team.
oh yeah, 100%. But Lamar is crazy. If he was in those games, we'd win more than 50% of those
Can I
toss-up
play?
games.
I'm gonna have to play a little devil's advocate here because there were a lot of games last year that you guys lost off of fourth down conversions. Maybe 3 games like that could have easily
Yep.
been losses. But I mean, yeah, okay. I know, like I hear what you're saying for sure, but the Bengals are the better team in my opinion. The scores show that
I think
last year.
it's a really even division, in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
As I said from the
Well,
jump, it'll be a one or two. It'll come down to the end of the year, obviously, 1 or 2 game, decision.
okay. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Next division.
That's a good division though. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Just keep it moving, bro. AFC South. Now, when you look at this division here, the Titans, they won last year. They were 12-5. Took that division last year. They lost in the second. Was it the second round? They lost in the second round to the Bengals last year in the playoffs. And I want to say that they sacked Burrow 9 times in that game, and they still won, which is insane. But you lose their wide receiver 1 and AJ Brown, and a team that already really wasn't throwing the ball because you have a running back in King Henry. I feel like that's a major loss in their offense. So they're gonna have to prove, or Tannehill is gonna have to prove that he can still get the ball to some people despite not having AJ Brown anymore. You draft Treylon Burks, who I think is a very underrated wide receiver out of a loaded wide receiver class. I think he could be very good. And then they bring over Robert Woods, who's a very good receiver. And then obviously you have King Henry, who is him. He's King Henry. Moving on with this division, you have the Indianapolis Colts, who bring in Mr. Matty Ice to be their new QB1, which will be very interesting for them. They've always been a team kind of like the Broncos. They've had a roster, but kind of needed to upgrade that quarterback position to take them to the next level. Consistent playoff team. And I like that roster. Michael Pittman, can't sleep on him. You have J-Tay, member of the Naptown Bust Downs, returning champions. We're about to see what we can do. Build the second Death Star. You know how that goes with J-Tay. He's absolutely. Do I think he's gonna have the same type of season last year? No, but he's still gonna get those touches for sure. Because
You got him
he's
again
a
on your fantasy?
playmaker. No, he wasn't on my team last year, but he was my first number 1 pick this year. On my team, Naptown Bust Downs, I won the championship last year. But
good pick.
Yeah, couldn't hesitate. And then we keep moving on. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team who I honestly think, with the new coaching staff, Doug Peterson brings him over. I think we'll see, hopefully, he could put a much better product out there than last year, for 1, and 2, can improve the play for Trevor Lawrence, who I think still will be a very good quarterback in this league one day. He's very gifted, dual threat, can make every pass, got the size. If Doug Peterson can talk to him the right way, get him to start playing well, you can't deny that right there. And then you have the Houston Texans, They get rid of Deshaun Watson, so they get a draft haul in. They're going with Davis Mills, who I don't want to say. I do want to say I respect his game for sure. He still has a whole lot more to prove, but I think he could potentially be starter worth within the next couple years, a pretty decent starter in this league. I think so. Um, and they got a long ways to go. New coach Lovie Smith, probably gonna really attack the run game this year, for sure. That he said that. So see how that goes for them this season. Ben, if you were to pick a team out of this division, who would it be, and why?
I'm gonna go Tennessee Titans. I'm gonna go Tennessee Titans because I think I like Ryan Tannehill and I like Derrick Henry, and I think the Colts are a close second with Jonathan Taylor, and then personally, I think the surprise to this division is going to be Jacksonville because I think with their new coaching, Trevor Lawrence has some. He's got some threats. Marvin Jones, I like Marvin Jones a lot. I think he's underrated. I think he'll do something this year. Tried to pick him up in fantasy, couldn't get him. And then Evan Ingram. You can never.
Oh, I forgot they had him.
You can never.
Also brought over Christian Kirk, gave him the bag.
Yep.
There you go.
You can never understand.
Hey.
James Robinson, NTN.
I think.
Oh yeah, they got some weapons. I didn't really.
Titans, yeah. I think Tennessee Titans, then Colts, and then Jaguars. 1, 2, 3, but they're close. They're all close.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a dog fight.
I agree. I don't think this division anyone's gonna run away with it.
Yeah. I personally don't know much about the Houston Texans, but yeah, so that's why I put them last. But I think
no, they're not good.
Yeah,
they're not good.
Those three, it's gonna be a dog fight.
Yeah, those three. I agree. I think the Colts come out on top. I just think they're well coached. Their defense is ridiculous. Jonathan Taylor, dog. Pittman, I like a lot. And then you add Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is good. He is underrated.
They also got Nick Foles as a backup, which I mean that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
he did win a Super Bowl.
But no, yeah. I mean, I like Matt Ryan a lot. He didn't have anything with him in Atlanta those last couple years, so it's kind of hard to judge. But I love him in Indy. I think that's a really good fit for a veteran QB. So I'm gonna go with the Colts, and then the Titans, just because Derrick Henry. And then I agree, Jacksonville's right there, in the mix for sure. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I'm gonna just say the Colts, and I think this is a one playoff team division.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Hey, that's the thing about the AFC, bro. It is so loaded, so it's hard. It's gonna be hard to make it to the dance, man. It's gonna be hard to make it to the dance.
It's 3 playoff teams, right? 3 wild cards.
Yeah, now.
So like Bengals and Ravens, one of those two's in a wild card spot. And then you look at AFC West, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. Somebody in there's got to make the wild card.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
It's
AFC
going to be
is
very, very tight. It's going to be extremely tight. Extremely tight.
And we talked about the Dolphins too. Like, who knows?
It's going to be extremely tight. No, I like what y'all were chopping there. I like that. I personally think I personally like the Colts as well, probably to come out of this division this year. I think the Titans losing AJ Brown is a huge loss for them. Like they got to they got to find something else. It's going to take a while, I think, to find something else to fill that void. And like you said, Matty Ice, he's a pro. So he's going to be able to get those dudes the ball. They have a decent O-line. compared to the Falcons, probably a little bit better. So he'll have some better time back there to make his decisions. So I like them. The Titans definitely could be second. Like we said, the AFC is tight, so they could maybe make it, maybe, but we'll have to see about that. But I like the Colts. I definitely like the Colts. Shaquille Leonard on the defensive end, you bring over, you keep him there, and he's a dog. Then you have bumping run, you bring over bump and run Gilmore, Stephon Gilmore, who's a top tier safety dog. Kenny Moore, up and coming, nasty. No, I like that roster. DeForest Buckner in the trench work, holding it down. That's a good roster right there.
They're good.
That's a good roster right there. I like. It'll be interesting to see how it goes in the NFC and the AFC though, no doubt. But what we are gonna move on over to, and probably got to make it a lot quicker, is the NFC conference.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get it out the way. NFC East. You know how it goes over in the dark side. Starting off with the returning NFC East champions, the Dallas Cowboys, who they lost their guy, Amari Cooper. Dak lost his guy in Amari Cooper. You also lose Cedric Wilson over to the Dolphins. You still have Mr. Dalton Schultz, who was I want to say their top targeted player last year. Regardless, nonetheless, he stays there, which is going to be a huge help for Dak. You still have the two-headed snake in Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Can't sleep on them, no doubt about it. Defensively, you have a safety, pick grabbing safety, and Trayvon Diggs. Micah Parsons is a superstar. You gotta double him every play. He on 11 every play. Dak's gonna have to prove something. No, losing his top dog in Amari. Their roster's not necessarily the same as it was last year. It was not. Then we go over to the Philadelphia Eagles, who made you gotta clap for them. They had a great offseason. They knocked off a lot of boxes that they needed to check. You bring over AJ Brown, so now you have two wide receiver one receivers in AJ and Devontae, two very good players. You have Dallas Goedert, who I would probably say is the best tight end in that division. Very good tight end. They arguably have the best offensive line in football. Running back, the running game is strong. They have a running back by committee over there. Defensively, you bring over James Bradbury, so now you have two cornerback ones in your house. Then you draft Nakobe Dean. They just got Roby Coleman. It's a good roster right there. You draft Jordan Davis, dog of a defensive tackle. They're formulating something mean over there. I really like that team for sure. You gotta like that roster. It all falls in Jalen's hands, though. I say that's gonna take them as far as they can. It all depends on if Jalen can get those dudes to pill. You have the Washington Commanders. It's the first ever year for the Washington Commanders. You bring over a quarterback in Carson Wentz, who, call it how it is, he comes with baggage. It's his third team in 3 years. With the talks amongst media that the last two teams didn't want to deal with them anymore. They took very big sacrifices, monetary wise, to get rid of him. So he has a lot to prove with it being his third team in 3 years, but I personally believe he has good weaponry around him for him to be able to throw the ball to. And Terry McLaurin, underrated wide receiver in this league. Curtis Samuel looks healthy. And then you draft Jahan Dotson, who I think is going to be a good receiver in this league out of Penn State. You have Logan Thomas coming off an injury. What was going to be a running back by committee, but for a good 4 to 5 weeks will be a potential two-headed snake And Antonio Gibson and JD McKissick got to be able to keep the ball in their hands, though. Ball security is very huge for them. And then defensively, if they can play like they did in 2020, being a top 5 defense, the rosters for the most part pretty much the same. So if they can get back on that high horse, it's going to definitely hurt them until Chase Young gets back onto the field. But they could potentially make some noise. I see them as like a 9-win team this year. If all things go well, maybe 10-11, but I see them as a 9-win team this year. And then the New York Giants, who under a new coaching staff, it all relies on Daniel Jones. I personally believe Daniel Jones, he has a good arsenal around him to be able to throw the ball to. Saquon Barkley, I think, is going to have a monster year this year just because he's a year after the injury. So I think he's going to get back on his 1-2 step for sure. And defensively, they have some playmakers as well. I don't think they're going to be fantastic or anything like that, but I think with the new coaching staff, you never know what could happen. Shane, if you were to pick a team to win the NFC East, what team would it be and why?
Philadelphia Eagles. I really like Jalen Hurts. I think you add AJ Brown for him and Devontae Smith. They got weapons. And you know what he can do with his feet. I like the Eagles a lot. So I'm gonna straight up take Philadelphia. I don't think the Cowboys are gonna make anything shake this year. Their defense made big strides last year, but they don't impress me at all. I'm not really too concerned about the Cowboys. What I will say is I think the Commanders are gonna have a good year. All things relative, meaning like they will. I agree with you. 9-win season about, but they'll be right there with the Cowboys. I think Cowboys win probably 10-9 games too. And then I see the Giants at the bottom of the division, 6 wins, 7 wins, struggling again. Danny Jones probably will have a better year, but they're going to need to change their QB, I think, after this season. Start with something fresh. But I'm going to go with Philadelphia. Again, this division isn't crazy, so I don't really see Philadelphia making a big push in the NFC in the playoffs. But I like Philly to win the division.
Ben, what you thinking?
Okay, so this is just my personal insight. Obviously, I'm a Commanders fan, so I may be biased. I'm gonna go Commanders at 1 because I think Carson Wentz is composed. I think he's got it going on. I think he's adjusted well. I think he is able to lead the offense. Logan Thomas, I think he's having some trouble.
That's an unbiased. You think Commanders are winning the division?
Yeah, I do. They've done it before, so yeah, I do. I think Antonio Gibson, if he doesn't fumble the ball, he's very good. He's a very good running back. JD McKissick, he's probably the best catching running back there is in the division. I think Cam Curl, he just got off surgery, Steven, with his thumb. When he gets healthy, I think he's one of the hardest hitting DBs in the league. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but if you watch him hit, maybe I bet you'll agree.
Good player.
I'm gonna go Eagles number 2, just because I think their offensive line is good, and I think it's dangerous what Jalen Hurts can do on his feet with a good offensive line. And then I'm gonna go Cowboys. Cowboys 3, Giants 4. I think Ezekiel Elliott, personally, I think he's overrated. I think the Cowboys in general are overrated. Once again, might be biased because I'm a Commanders fan, but
no, they are.
I think they're bottom of the pot, them and the Giants. So yeah. Go Commanders.
I heard that. Me personally, I would have to say that the Eagles will win this division this year for sure. I would have to say the Eagles will win this division this year. I think, like I said when I started with them, Jalen will take them as far as he wants to take them, and he's a scary, determined player, which is a huge advantage for them. He's not going to quit until he figures it out. But I like them. Their roster is too talented for them to not win the division this year. One of the easiest schedules as well going into the season. I like them number 1. 2 is a toss-up between the Commanders and Cowboys. If Carson Wentz can get the ball to the weapons, then I got them at 2 for sure. The defense also has to play like how they got to play as well. But I personally believe it's not gonna. I could be wrong. We can look back on this later, and I could be extremely wrong. But I just think with the weapons that the Cowboys lost, as far as their weaponry on the offensive side, some of the O linemen have been swapped out. I don't think it's gonna be the same Cowboys as last year. Can't sleep on CeeDee Lamb. He's a true player in this league for sure.
He's a baller.
And Dak is good as well. But I think they're not going to be the same as they were last year. It's going to be a hurting for them as far as losing some of the players that they did. They got to figure it out. And you also look at Michael Gallup, he broke his foot. So it's going to be a little while for them to get in the gear, I think. But I could be wrong. I like that. Good talk. Let's keep it moving. Let's get into the NFC North, which I think is in a intriguing year for the Green Bay Packers, just because Mr. Rodgers returning back-to-back MVP in the NFL. He loses the best wide receiver in the NFL in Devontae Adams, so he's got to find more chemistry with the receivers that he has in the room now, with Lazard leading the pack, and they draft Christian Watson, Randall Cobb, veteran, Tanyan. I think is going to take a little while to get healthy, who's also a solid tight end. You still have a dangerous two-headed snake in the running back room with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Can't sleep on them. Aaron Jones, returning bust down player this year. I know you know how it goes with him. The Packers, they got some. Mr. Rodgers, he's gonna have to figure something out though. I think he's gonna have to figure something out. The Vikings, new coaching staff. They're returning with Mr. Kirk Cousins. They have a emerging dog of a receiver in Jay Jettis, Justin Jefferson, who's a playmaker, absolute playmaker. Thielen returning, Dalvin Cook healthy. If he stays healthy, he's a top 5 back, no doubt about it. Absolute baller. Defensively, they got some guys. New coaching, like I said, new coaching staff. So they're gonna have to figure out what their new identity is gonna be going into this new season. You have the Lions, Detroit Lions, who under Dan Campbell. I like the way he coaches. I watched Hard Knocks. He cares. He cares, and players go a long way with that for real.
Yeah.
I think they still got a ways to go, but you look at some of the players they've gotten over the past couple of years, and DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hawkinson. Those are good offensive players right there. They still got a ways to go, but I like Dan Campbell and what they're formulating over in Detroit. And then you have the Chicago Bears, new coaching staff. Justin Fields returning back. I like him, man. He's a dude. You know what I mean? If they can figure it out for him, get him a little bit more weaponry within the next couple of years. You lose a receiver like Allen Robinson, that hurts. Darnell Mooney, he's a dog, but they still need possibly a little bit more weaponry over there in Chicago to really help out Justin. But if you guys were to pick a winner for this division, would you all aboard say Green Bay? No doubt.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. I think it'll be a tight race for the 2 spot though. I don't think Minnesota's any good, and I like what Dan Campbell's building, and I agree that Justin Fields can make something happen. So I think those bottom 3 teams are going to fight for that second place spot, but I think the Packers will run away with this division.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Same thing pretty much, Ben.
Yeah.
No, I hear you with that. I think I'm optimistic for the Bears. Justin Fields is a good player, and it starts at the quarterback. So if he can make some plays for them, who knows? The Pack still got it going on. Aaron Rodgers that's discount double check. You know,
And
what I mean?
even though even though he lost Devontae Adams, he's one of them players that's like motivation for him. He's one of them players that
Yeah, I don't like. It doesn't really matter with a dude like
he's
that.
got Randall Cobb, and they're both veterans. Like they will do well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and LaFleur's a good coach.
Yeah, he is. He is. Let's keep it moving. We don't have to stay on that division. We know how it go. All right. NFC South. NFC South. Now, got to start at the head honcho. Tampa Bay. TB12. Tampa Bay. He's returning, coming back. 46. 46, year 20-something. 7 of them things. He's still here, though. And he's got the best weaponry he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, he's coming off a torn ACL, but he'll be back soon. Probably get Gronk by week 7. Can't really deny what they got going on over there. As long as Brady still doesn't really matter.
That's the goat.
Can't really sleep on them, obviously. You have the Saints, new coaching staff. Sean Payton leaves. They promote the D coordinator to the head coaching job. They're rocking with Jameis Winston, who's, despite say what you want about Jameis Winston, he can get the ball to guys for sure. He can get the ball to guys. And they have Mike Thomas coming off an injury, coming back. Alvin Kamara, whichever his situation is going on, he'll be on the field eventually. They draft Chris Olave in the first round. They lose Teron Armstead to the Dolphins, but
they got Jarvis Landry too, don't they?
Yup, Jarvis Landry. They do have Jarvis Landry. Brought him over. Defensively, you lose Marcus Williams, but you bring in the Honey Badger.
Mm-hmm.
Fair trade.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
Loaded. That's a loaded roster right there, man. That's a loaded roster right there. Cameron Jordan in the trenches. He's a dog. I'm blanking on his name. Demario Davis at linebacker for them. He's a all-pro linebacker, top 5 linebacker in this league. That Saints roster is tough, man. It'll go down to Jameis if he can get those dudes to pill, but can't sleep on them. Atlanta Falcons. They lose the era. They're turning the new book over, losing the era of Matty Ice. They're starting it out with Mr. Marcus Mariota, former Heisman. They got some guys he could potentially get the ball to, and Drake London they drafted. Kyle Pitts, who's a wide receiver 1. He's nasty. Kyle Pitts is nasty. They still got a little ways to go, a little bit of rebuilding to do for sure. But I think they'll be headed in the right direction. They draft Desmond Ridder, who showed some promise in the preseason games. So they can feel confident in him. And then the Carolina Panthers, who bring over Baker Mayfield, former number 1 pick, former Heisman, who opens up with the Cleveland Browns. They have some sneaky good roster too. You have, if C-Mac stays healthy, that's a top 3 back in this league. Ultimate weapon, air or in the air or on the ground. Can't deny his greatness. You have DJ Moore, who they gave a nice contract to, well-deserved. Robbie Anderson, good player, speed, fast. Defensively, you have players like Jeremy Chin, who's very, very good. They lose Hassan Reddick, but you have Brian Burns on the come-up, dog. Can't really deny that roster right there either. If they figure it out with Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield, if Baker Mayfield plays very well, you can't deny that team right there. Shane, who would you pick? I feel like we all know. We probably would say the Bucks to come out. Bucks will come out.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a 2-team division to make it to the dance though? With the Saints,
I don't think so, but I do think the Saints are that too, for sure. I see them 9-10 wins. I like their roster a lot, and Jameis, he always can make something happen. He throws the same amount of touchdowns as he does picks, but he throws 30 tutties, so they can always make something happen. I think they could steal one against Tampa Bay. They could sweep Carolina and the Falcons. So you never know with the Saints. They could end up having a good record.
Mhm.
I like their roster a lot. I'm gonna go Saints too. And then that bottom of the division, I think those two teams have a couple more years, Carolina and the Falcons. But I can't wait to see Mariota get his chance as a starting QB1. He's never really gotten that. He didn't really have that opportunity in Tennessee. So it's good to see him get that QB1 spot back, see what he can do. And then Baker's going to do what he does, but Baker. He had all the weapons he had in Cleveland and couldn't really do anything with it. So I'm really sleep on Carolina. So I think Atlanta takes that 3 spot. Carolina finishes last in this division.
Ben, what would you say? Do you think the Saints have a chance to make it to the playoffs with the Bucks winning the division? Assuming
I'm gonna
the
go ahead
Bucks
and
win
say
the division?
no. I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I think I would even like Shane. I know you're asleep on the Panthers, but I think Baker. He just got in a dog fight with Sam Darnold, and I think he's real happy to be the starter. I think he's got a full head of steam with Cleveland week 1, and I think he can make something happen. I wouldn't be surprised if I would honestly maybe put 2 Carolina Panthers at 2, because personally I think Jameis Winston's a fool, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, everyone has their take on Jameis. Some people love him, some people think he's.
And I love him as a person. I love him, but I don't think he's got. I don't think he's got.
Yeah,
It's to be an NFL QB, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And then Falcons at last. I'm pretty sure Drake London is having injury issues. So
yeah, he is.
Yeah. So that's.
Yeah, I don't see the Falcons really making anything shake.
Yeah, I think they still got some building to do. I do like Marcus Mariota, but I think they got some building to do.
No, that's fair. I hear you. I do. I wouldn't put down the Saints though, bro. I mean, like y'all just said, people have different takes on Jameis. Me, I feel like if you got some dudes, like when he was on the Bucks, he had dudes to throw the ball to. It was a 30 for 30, but he was still getting them the rock. You know what I'm saying? You win by scoring touchdowns. If he can stay composed and cut on the interceptions, which he did until he got hurt last year. They were 5-1 until he got hurt last year, which I think a lot of people forget. But I wouldn't sleep on them as a wild card to come out. I wouldn't sleep on them.
No, yeah. We'll see.
They'll surprise some people.
He's definitely got some weapons, so we'll see.
Yeah. For sure. To finish off the last division in the NFL, the NFC West. We have the Los Angeles Rams returning Super Bowl champions back into the mix. Matthew Stafford has some elbow issues, but he'll be ready to go week 1 tomorrow night against the Bills.
That's excited.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Absolute live action right there.
It's a good ball game to start the year off.
Mr. Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown, back into the mix. It goes without saying. He's just nasty. Get him the ball. Just get him the pill.
Yeah.
They lose Odell Beckham, but he sounds like he still could potentially join. So once he gets himself healthy and get back into the mix, that'll be electric. But in the meantime, they bring over Allen Robinson, who is a very good receiver in this league. So Matt Stafford is going to have some options. Pass it like Stockton for sure. He's going to have options. Higbee in the mix. You have Cam Akers running the rock. Defensively, goes without saying. You have the best defensive player in the league in Aaron Donald. Menace. Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in the NFL. You bring over Bobby Wagner, a 110 plus tackler every year. They lose Vaughn, but when you bring over Bob, that's cool. You know what I mean? You can't really get but so hurt about it. I don't see them. I don't feel hot as a hot take seeing them in the NFC Championship again as long as they stay healthy and especially if they bring over OBJ. The Arizona Cardinals, who lost to the Rams in the playoffs last year. You have Kyler Murray, who just got a very, very big contract, has a lot to prove. D-Hop out for 6 games. So you have Hollywood Brown to hopefully fill that wide receiver one void, until he returns. You lose Christian Kirk, but you have Rondell Moore emerging up. James Conner, who had a great year last year. They have some weapons on the offensive side. Then defensively, you lose Chandler Jones to the Raiders, but you have J.J. Watt still there in the trench work. They've been working on their linebacker room and Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons, two athletic freaks, truthfully. Buda Baker over top, all pro safety. Can't mess around with them. The San Francisco 49ers, who are in a new era with Trey Lance, who I think will be a good quarterback in this league, no doubt. I think so. I think he can do it. Offensively, you have Deebo Samuel, the ultimate weapon X, coming back. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, top 3 tight end in this league. Defensively, you have Fred Warner, top 3 linebacker. He's very, very good, all pro bowler. You got Bosa in the trenches, who's a dog. Great roster over in San Francisco and good coaching under Shanahan. And then you have the Seattle Seahawks, who, I mean, I personally believe they're probably entering a rebuild session because you lose a quarterback like Russell Wilson, you got to be able to figure it out after that. They have Geno Smith throwing the pill. He could make something shake with Mr. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker in the running back room. They'll figure it. They could potentially figure it out. Defensively, you have Jamal Adams, Diggs. They lose Bobby Wags, which is tough. You lose your lose your offensive and defensive quarterback. Truthfully, that's
Yep.
those are 2 very big losses right there. So Pete Carroll definitely got something to figure out. Who would you say wins this division right here? Rams, Shane?
I'm gonna go with the Niners.
Whoa.
I think Trey Lance is gonna be special. And to look at how good the Niners have done in the past couple of years with Jimmy Garoppolo, a system quarterback, mind you. And they've made it to the Super Bowl. They made it to the NFC Championship.
I like that take.
I like 49ers coming out of this division. But yeah, I like Trey Lance a lot. He's got really, honestly, I don't think much pressure. Maybe in San Francisco, the community, maybe the fan base, they got pressure on him. But from an NFL view, I haven't really heard much about, the pressures of Trey Lance coming in and doing something crazy. He can go out there and really ball. So I'm gonna go with Trey Lance having a massive year. Pair that with Kyle Shanahan. I think they win the division. Coming in at 2, obviously the Rams. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender again. This is a 2 playoff team division for sure. These 2 teams are playoff teams. I love the Rams. I really do. Get Cup the ball, you're going to win games. And then you got Ramsey and Donald on the other side of the ball. You're not going to lose many games. But with that being said, I think they got a little Super Bowl hangover coming up. And I see the 49ers pulling this division out. And then I think the Cardinals are going to be pretty weak without Hopkins. But, Kyler's going to do what he does. But I don't think they can make the playoffs. Won't be enough to make the playoffs or do anything in this division that's meaningful. And then you got the Seahawks, who are going to be one of the worst teams in football, in my opinion. They don't really have much going for them right now. As you said, they're starting to rebuild. But I love this division. Two of the best teams in football are in this division. So, yeah, but that's one of my hotter takes as well. I think San Fran comes out of here.
I like that though. I like that. I respect it. Ben, what you thinking though?
I'm thinking Rams. Rams go out on top. I think they got one of the best coaching staffs in the league, obviously with their last Super Bowl. And Cooper Kupp obviously is a menace, him and Matthew Stafford. Shane's
Cup.
thinking I was gonna put Arizona 2, but yeah, I like Shane's take.
Don't let Shane's take
Well, I
sway
think
what
yeah.
you were thinking. What were you thinking? What were you thinking?
I mean, even though DeAndre Hopkins is out, Kyler Murray, he's crazy on his feet.
Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray.
And he's got some crazy weapons.
Yeah, he's
AJ
dead.
Green, like
Nah,
he's got
I
some
hear
crazy,
you.
he's got some crazy weapons.
Say what you feel. Don't
All right.
let Shane sway
All right,
you now.
I appreciate you. Inspiring some confidence in me. I'm gonna go Rams 1, Cardinals 2, 49ers 3, and then yeah, Seattle I think is bad. I think they're bad.
I hear
That's
you,
trash.
bro. No, for sure. The Cardinals definitely, like you said, Shane, for sure. They gotta prove Kyler's gotta prove that he can make something happen without D-Hop. He's got to. Hollywood Brown again is gonna have to prove that he can be a wide receiver 1 until D-Hop returns. Can he do it? We'll see. But they have that college connection going on, and that's seeming to be like a little.
And they got Rondale Moore. I think is good.
Yeah, me too.
I had him on fantasy last year. He put us some points.
Steve, where do you have these top 2 teams or 3, whoever you like?
I
like the Cardinals.
I mean, me personally, I would have to go with the Rams winning the division again if they stay healthy. Matthew Stafford, he threw the most interceptions in the NFL, yes, but he got himself a Super Bowl ring 1 year after leaving Detroit. He's the best quarterback in that division. For
sure.
And they have the best defense. The 49ers D is tough. But when you have the best player in the NFL in Aaron Donald and the best corner in the league in Jalen Ramsey, that's hard to beat. That's very hard to beat.
Yeah,
so
they won't lose
of that,
many
I would
games.
have to put them at number 1. Number 2, I got the Niners because I do think Trey Lance will be able to get those dudes to pill and their defense flies around. So they're going to be in the mix. Cardinals got to prove what they got to prove. But no, yeah, I would say Rams 1, Niners 2, with both of them making the playoffs and the Cardinals don't. Just because they would have Kyler's got to catch up without D-Hop. And by that time, I think, and I'm just saying what we've seen the past couple years, they'll start off hot, but then they don't tend to finish the end of the season well. They got into the playoffs last year, but they don't finish seasons well.
We've seen Hollywood try to be a QB1 with a mobile quarterback in Baltimore, and it didn't really work. So I don't see them doing well without DeAndre Hopkins. Now, when DeAndre gets back, they could be a problem. But I think it's going to be hard for Kyler those first 6 weeks.
Cardinals also got a good defense. We got to remember that.
They do.
No, I like you standing 10 toes down on the Cards, man. I like that. I respect that. Well, fellas, we gone over for a long time. This will be a lot of editing to do, so I think we can cut it off right here. I really do appreciate y'all taking the time out of your afternoon tonight to chop it up with me, as we do have ourselves the NFL game in, without a doubt, in less than 24 hours. So we got a lot to look forward to.
Yes, we do.
We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, show love on the Instagram, show love on the Twitter, show love on the YouTube. We're going to get you guys a video out every week this season. Stay up to date. Keep our takes hot sometimes. And we're just going to keep spreading the love and just keep chopping it up the game like we do every day, you know. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming out. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Shane, Ben, appreciate y'all. You guys, we'll see you next time.
All right. Happy NFL season, everybody. Let's get it.
Steve, you got a good thing going, my boy. Keep it up.
He does. He
Thank you,
does.
brother.
Everyone stay
Appreciate
tuned.
that.
Come on, like and subscribe. Let's
Everyone
get
stay tapped in.